What's the most ridiculous complaint someone's ever made about you? I was just sitting in a coffee shop, working quietly on my laptop. There was this woman nearby who kept giving me death stares. After about 10 minutes, she suddenly got up and walked straight over to me. She demanded that I stop doing what I was doing. I asked, totally confused, stop doing what exactly? She told me I was typing too loudly, and that it was ruining her meditation session. I politely reminded her, this is a Starbucks, not a Buddhist temple. She crossed her arms and said she comes there every Tuesday at exactly 2 p.m. to do her spiritual ritual. And apparently, my keyboard was throwing her chakras out of alignment. I tried typing more softly, but she shook her head and said it was still too much noise, and that I was creating negative energy. Just then, a barista fired up the milk steamer. It sounded like a jet engine, and she didn't even flinch. Instead, she whipped out her phone and started recording me, announcing that she was documenting the spiritual harassment. Meanwhile, I was literally just making a PowerPoint for work. She zoomed in on my keyboard and declared that my violent finger movements were a direct energetic attack on her aura. Another guy nearby, also on his laptop, laughed out loud. She immediately turned on him too, accusing him of being part of some conspiracy. He just shook his head and started typing even louder. She screamed that this was now a coordinated attack. She covered her ears, ran to the counter, and shouted that she was being harassed by keyboards. The teenage barista just looked at her calmly and explained that yes, people are allowed to use laptops there. She yelled back, not when they're using technology as a spiritual weapon. Then she stormed back to my table and threatened to call the cops if I didn't stop interrupting her sacred practice. I just kept typing. She actually dialed 911 and told them it was a spiritual emergency because someone was committing keyboard violence. I think they hung up on her because she called back right away. The manager came over and asked what was going on. She pointed at me like I was some kind of demon and explained that I was sending negative vibrations into her chakras through my laptop. The manager looked at me and asked if I was doing anything weird. I showed him my screen. It was literally a boring quarterly sales presentation. She leaned over, read it, and screamed, "He's channeling corporate greed energy straight into my third eye." The manager took a deep breath and told her I had every right to work there. She shouted, "Not when he's committing spiritual assault," and then pulled out incense and lit it right there. Huge fire hazard. The manager quickly took it from her and told her that was enough. She needed to leave. She spread her arms and declared they couldn't throw her out during her sacred meditation. She sat down on the floor, cross-legged, and closed her eyes. Security showed up within minutes. 2 guards politely asked her to stand up. She opened her eyes and said she wasn't moving until the men with the keyboard stopped digitally assaulting her. The guards looked at each other, completely lost, and asked her again to stand. She went limp and dropped to the ground like she had no bones, claiming it was peaceful resistance against technological oppression. They ended up physically carrying her out while her crystals spilled everywhere. She screamed about constitutional rights and religious freedom, and just before they dragged her out the door, she pointed a trembling finger at me and yelled, "Your typing has cursed this sacred place."